Today I am demonstrating aseptic non-touch technique. Aseptic non-touch technique is a standardised technique that is used during clinical procedures to identify and prevent microorganism contamination of aseptic key parts and key sites by ensuring that they are not touched either directly or indirectly. Aseptic non-touch technique is a standard for aseptic techniques internationally. The equipment that is required for an aseptic technique is as follows. Firstly, you will need a procedure trolley. The procedure trolley requires wiping down before and after the procedure. And the trolley is wiped down as so. You will also need, for this procedure, general gloves. Depending on the complexity of the wound as to what type of gloves you will use, whether they are general gloves or sterile gloves. You will require a dressing pack and ensuring that you're checking dates of all your equipment. The solution that I'm using today is sodium chloride. A disposable garbage bag and an apron. Prior to opening your equipment, you will need to perform hand hygiene. An alcohol solution would be suitable for hand hygiene at this stage. Once you have completed your hand hygiene, you are to open your equipment. This is a basic dressing pack and it is opened with the folds side up. The disposable garbage bag is required to go onto the procedure side of the trolley for which you are conducting the procedure, closest to the patient. This is to prevent cross-contamination of your sterile field. When opening a dressing pack, you try to go for the closest corner and always unfold a dressing pack towards yourself. This also prevents contamination of crossing over of the sterile field. The border of the aseptic field is not deemed sterile. The 5 centimetre width around the sterile field is considered contaminated. Forceps are used to lay out your sterile equipment. Adding a solution to your sterile field, checking that you're using a correct solution and checking that it is in date. Step back from your sterile field in order to prevent water droplets. Performing hand hygiene before putting on my gloves. For a wound swab, cleansing a wound, it is important that you prepare your swabs prior to commencing the procedure. Each sterile pack contains 5 pieces of gauze and also contains a sterile drape. The sterile drape is placed near the wound on the patient in order to increase the sterile field. I will prepare 2 swabs. When making contact with a patient using the swabs, it's important that one hand remains a procedure hand and the other hand remains the patient hand. For example, crossover use of swabs from one hand to the other, patient contact, and then disposing of the swab. It is important that you dispose of the swab from a height that doesn't contaminate your forceps. Procedure hand to patient hand to patient and dispose. Once you have completed your aseptic technique, you are then required to dispose of your equipment. All equipment is folded into your aseptic technique in order to prevent contamination of your environment. It is important to bag and tie your equipment in order to prevent infection to your environment. Once all your equipment is bagged and tied, you then perform hand hygiene and dispose of your equipment as per facility policy.